Hi children, today I have come up with a new lesson. Today I have come up with a new lesson for class 9th students. Today I have come up with a new lesson for class 9th students. It is lines and angles. It is lines and angles. Children, in our daily life, we see different types of angles formed between the edges of plane surfaces. For making a similar kind of model using the plane surfaces, we need to have a thorough knowledge of angles. In science, we study the properties of light by drawing the ray diagrams. For example, to study the refraction property of light when it enters from one medium to the other medium, we see the properties of intersecting lines and parallel lines. Now, let us try to understand some fundamental definitions related to geometry. Now, let us try to understand some fundamental definitions about geometry. Straight line. What is a straight line? A straight line is the set of all points between and extending beyond 2 points. A straight line is the set of all points between and extending beyond 2 points. Now, what is a line segment? Now, what is a line segment? A line segment is a part of a line that includes 2 points called endpoints and all the points between them. A line segment is a part of a line that includes 2 points called endpoints and all the points between them. Now, what is a ray? Now, what is a ray? In geometry, a ray can be defined as a part of a line that has a fixed starting point but no end point. It can be extended infinitely in one direction. In geometry, a ray can be defined as a part of a line that has a fixed starting point but no end point. It can be extended infinitely in one direction. Now, what are intersecting lines? Now, what are intersecting lines? Intersecting lines are those lines that cross each other. Intersecting lines are those lines that cross each other. So, in the diagram it is shown two lines P and Q intersect at a point O, and that point is called point of intersection. In the figure, two lines P and Q are intersecting at a point. What is the name of that point? O. Now, what are non-intersecting lines? What are non-intersecting lines? Non-intersecting lines can never meet. That means the lines which do not meet at all are called non-intersecting lines. The lines that do not intersect each other are called non-intersecting lines. They are also called as parallel lines. They are also known as the parallel lines. They are always at the same distance from one another. They are always at the same distance from one another. So, what are perpendicular lines? So, what are perpendicular lines? Perpendicular lines are two lines that intersect each other to form a right angle. Perpendicular lines are two lines that intersect each other to form a right angle as shown in the figure. In the figure, it is shown two lines intersect at one point making right angles. Right angle means what? 90 degrees. Now, what is an angle? Now, what is an angle? In plane geometry, an angle is the figure formed by two rays. In plane geometry, an angle is the figure formed by two rays called the sides of the angle. The two rays are called the sides of the angle. You see in blue and red, two rays, ray 1 and ray 2, are intersecting at a point. So, ray 1 and ray 2 are called what? The sides of the angle, sharing a common endpoint. So, here vertex one point is there. Here one point vertex is there. This is the common endpoint. And what this common endpoint is called? Vertex of the angle. This common point is called vertex of the angle. In geometry, an angle can be defined as the figure formed by two rays meeting at a common endpoint. An angle is represented by the symbol as shown. There are many types of angles. There are many types of angles such as acute angle. What? Acute angle, right angle, right angle, obtuse angle, obtuse angle, straight angle, straight angle, reflex angle, reflex angle, adjacent angles, adjacent angles, linear pair of angles, linear pair of angles. Now, what is an acute angle? Now, what is an acute angle? An angle whose measure is more than 0 degrees but less than 90 degrees is called an acute angle. An angle whose measure is more than 0 degrees but less than 90 degrees is called an acute angle. So in the diagram it is shown acute angle. It is more than 0 degrees but less than 90 degrees. So now, what is a right angle? What is a right angle? An angle whose measure is equal to 90 degrees is called a right angle. An angle whose measure is equal to 90 degrees is called a right angle. It is shown in the figure. Now, what is an obtuse angle? Now, what is an obtuse angle? An angle whose measure is less than 180 degrees but more than 90 degrees is called an obtuse angle. An angle whose measure is less than 180 degrees but more than 90 degrees is called an obtuse angle. It is shown in the figure. It is less than 180 degrees but more than 90 degrees. Very clearly you can see this. What is a straight angle? What is a straight angle? An angle whose measure is equal to 180 degrees. An angle whose measure is equal to 180 degrees is called a straight angle. An angle whose measure is equal to 180 degrees is called a straight angle. It is shown in the figure. Exactly, it is 180 degrees. Now, what is a reflex angle? What is a reflex angle? An angle whose measure is more than 180 degrees but less than 360 degrees is called reflex angle. An angle whose measure is more than 180 degrees but less than 360 degrees is called reflex angle. It is shown in the figure. The direction of its rotation of the ray is also shown. This red shows the direction of its rotation. Now, what are adjacent angles? Now, what are adjacent angles? Angles which have one common arm. Angles which have one common arm and a common vertex, and the uncommon arms are opposite to each other, called adjacent angles. What are adjacent angles? Angles which have one common arm and a common vertex, and the uncommon arms are opposite to each other are called adjacent angles. Look, in the picture, angle AOB and angle COB are called adjacent angles. In the figure, angle AOB and angle COB are called adjacent angles. These two angles have one common arm. What is it? OB. These two angles have one common arm. What is that? OB. And they have a common vertex. What is it? Your O. O is common vertex and OB is common arm. And OA and OC, two arms, are opposite to each other. So, angle AOB and angle COB are called adjacent angles. So now, what is a linear pair? Now, what is a linear pair? Angle formed by a line intersecting a straight line is called a linear pair. What is a linear pair? Angle formed by a line intersecting a straight line is called a linear pair. In the given sentence, you can see two lines. Two lines are intersecting at one point. Here two angles formed, A and B. Here A and B angles are called linear pair. Here angle A and angle B are called linear pair. So angle A plus angle B is equal to 180 degrees. When two angles are called linear pair, the sum of those two angles would be 180 degrees. When two angles are called linear pair, then sum of those two angles will be 180 degrees. So here angle A plus angle B, 180 degrees. Now, what are vertically opposite angles? What are vertically opposite angles. Angles formed by two intersecting lines such that the opposite angles are equal are called vertically opposite angles. What are vertically opposite angles? Angles formed by two intersecting lines. Angles formed by two intersecting lines such that the opposite angles are equal are called vertically opposite angles. Here you can see line L and line P. Line L and line P both are intersecting. So here by the intersection of these two lines, four angles are formed. 1, 2, 3, 4. They are named. So here 1 and 3 are called vertically opposite angles. And 2 and 4 are called vertically opposite angles. They are colored differently also. 1 and 3 yellow, 2 and 4 red. 1 and 3, 1 is equal to 3. These two angles are equal. And angle 2 and angle 4 are also equal. So these angles are called vertically opposite angles, and always they will be what? Equal. Now, what is a transversal line? Now, what is a transversal line? A transversal line is a line. A transversal line is a line that intersects two or more parallel lines at different points. So what is a transversal line? Transversal line is a line that intersects two or more parallel lines at different points. So in the figure it is given line M and line N are parallel. Line M and line N are parallel, and this transversal line intersects. This transversal line intersects. So now we have some properties. What are they? There are some pair of angles formed when a transversal intersects two lines such as corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles, interior angles on the same sides of the transversal. So like this we have different names. And in our next slides we read about these angles and their properties separately. Now observe the diagram. Here two lines are given, M and N. Here two lines are given, M and N. And line T intersects these two lines. Line T intersects. So now here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 angles are formed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 angles are formed. These angles are called corresponding angles. Angle 1, angle 5. Angle 1 and angle 5 are called corresponding angles. Angle 3, angle 7. Angle 2, angle 6. Angle 4 and angle 8 are called corresponding angles. Clear? So, from this diagram we can understand what are corresponding angles. What are corresponding angles? 1 and 5 are corresponding angles. 3 and 7 are corresponding angles. 2 and 6 are corresponding angles. 4 and 8 are corresponding angles. So now let us try to identify alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles. Here some angles are given. Red colored 4 and 5. 4 and 5. Purple color 3 and 5. So 4 and 6 and 3 and 5 are called alternate interior angles. Red and purple colored angles 4 and 6, 3 and 5 are called alternate interior angles. Now let us try to identify alternate exterior angles. Alternate exterior angles. Here 1 to 8, 7 angles are marked. 1 to 8, 7 with green and blue inks. 1 and 7 are called alternate interior angles. 1 and 7 are called alternate exterior angles. 2 and 8 are called alternate exterior angles. 2 and 8 are called alternate exterior angles. Now let us try to identify interior angles on the same side. Interior angles on the same side. Here it is given line L and L1 and line L2 are parallel. Line L1 and L2 are parallel and this transversal line cuts these two parallel lines. Here alpha and beta, these two angles are called interior angles on the same side. Interior means what? Inside. So sum of these two interior angles on the same side is 180 degrees. If L1 is parallel to L2, then alpha plus beta is equal to 180 degrees. And these two are called interior angles on the same side. Clear? Hi children. Today I have come up with